And we are live. All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Combating Anti-Semitism the Combating Anti-Semitism Summit Summer School sessions that we are hosting all throughout the summer. This was kind of a organic request that came from many of our viewers from the last summit that we had for LAUSD on May 15th. There were a lot of people who expressed interest in the Blue and White Club. I think it was an exciting little 5-minute pitch you got to give, Sharon. And so we decided to bring you back and to be our inaugural summer session speaker. So we really want to thank you for your participation tonight. And I want to remind our viewers that we're broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. If you have any questions, go ahead and submit them in the comments, and we will put them on the screen. Joining me tonight, my name is Dylan Hosier. By the way, I'm the CEO at ICANN, the Israeli American Civic Action Network. Joining me is one of our executive council members from our California State Committee, Esther Ravid. So Esther, thank you so much for being here as a leader of ICANN and as a community member. Good to see you. And then, of course, my partner in everything's education related, Amy Lesserman, who is the chair of the Educators Caucus for Israel. Amy, thank you so much for joining. And our special guest tonight is Sharon, who heads the Blue and White Club. So Sharon, thank you so much for being here. Before we get to you, I wanted to kind of ask Amy or Esther, do you want to give any greetings or say hello tonight?
I'm going to go first because I'm pushing my way through. I think that the program we're going to be discussing tonight is just an amazing example of an organic development of parent-led family involvement in school life. And I'm delighted to have learned about it. And I think it's a great model for what can be done.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Amy. And then Esther, I know you're in a tough communications area, but if you want to say anything, just pipe up and we'll bring you in. I did want to set the stage that, again, just to remind everybody, we are working on a very focused effort to strengthen the Jewish and Israeli American communities in the LAUSD school district in an effort to combat anti-Semitism and to create a safe environment for our students, families, and our educators. And I personally think that this Blue and White Club is a phenomenal program in that effort. And I think it's a proactive, positive way to create engagement with the community. So Sharon, I will shut up now and I will hand it over to you.
Okay. Do you want to share the little presentation we have?
Sure. Well, and here we go.
So just like Amy said, it's all started very spontaneously. It was all about organic gatherings around holidays, and we started with a little group chat, and community formed. And eventually we thought that it would be so cool to do something like that at the school level. But in reality, no one was able to take action. We had some paradigms. Hey, we don't think it's possible. Is it possible? What should we do? And we were fortunate enough to have a lot of support within the school community. And that's how we actually started Blue and White Club, which is all led by parents and people from the community.
So Sharon, just to kind of set the stage also for viewers, can you just mention who you are, what you do, and what school we're referring to?
Yeah, so I'm a mother of 3 elementary age children, and I'm part of Wood Lake Elementary Community Charter.
Okay.
At our school, we have a quite large Jewish and Israeli community. And it's a community charter, so we didn't know if it's something that is possible to do, and with the help of the principal, we kind of asked, hey, what would be the best format, or what kind of platform can we use to utilize the school community in order to do something like that? And she actually suggested that we'll do it as a club.
And so for everyone watching, Wood Lake Elementary is located in the San Fernando Valley, which is a kind of a suburb of Los Angeles. So, and just Sharon, you felt kind of a gap in terms of cultural programming at the school, and so you stepped up to kind of fill that gap. Can you tell that story a little bit?
Yeah,
I know I interrupted you, so go ahead.
no, I'll back up a little bit.
Sure.
My mother-in-law, I know she wants to stay anonymous, but she's an art teacher, and she's always so involved in the community, and she cares so much about the children and the next generation and educating them. And I wasn't always an involved parent, but when I moved right in front of the school, I felt like, okay, I really need to step up. And we always had that doubt, hey, should we send our kids to public school or private Jewish school? We all know about that, the feeling of, are we actually missing something? Is it the right environment for the kids? They feel, is it safe? So I definitely had all these questions in mind, but I was lucky and fortunate enough to have my mother-in-law nearby, the same school, very close to my son when he just started school. And then when I moved here and I saw everything firsthand, I felt like, okay, we can do it. There's a large enough community here. So that's when we said, okay, let's try to form it within the school. So I literally just burst into the principal's office and said, hey, how can we do it? And how can we do it right now? We don't want to miss. Timing is critical. It's high holidays right now, and not a lot of people knows about that. And there's some other events that occurred not really reflecting our values as a Jewish community in that school. So we really felt that urgency, and also we wanted to create more of a, and this is something that her name is also Sharon, Miss Sharon. She also felt that there's a lot of negative association around that community, and that's how it's all started. And yeah, and as I said, we were lucky enough to have a lot of support.
That's exciting. Now, I did want to. You mentioned that maybe the principal would join. So I see that we have Peterson and Flores in the room. Is that either one of them,
Amy
or should we
Pedersen
bring them in?
Yeah, Amy Pedersen is a.
Okay. Should and you let me know when to bring her in, because she's in the waiting room. So
more than
okay.
one.
Okay, here, I'll bring her in now. Amy, are you with us?
I'm here.
I'm here. I could only
Oh.
get in on my phone.
Okay, no worries. That's perfect.
Two Amy's,
So
I
thank
wasn't
you
sure.
so thank you, Principal Peterson, right, for joining us. Sharon was just about to begin the presentation, but I wanted to give you the floor also if you wanted to say a few words about this program from your perspective.
I just think from my perspective, it's been very well received. I know they have a lot of people in attendance. I think that the roots of why we started this program were for all the right reasons, because we wanted to build community and help all of our school community to understand the Israeli culture and the Jewish heritage at our school. And I think that it being open to everyone, they can go when they want to go. They can not go if they don't want to go. It's open to everybody. And so everybody's free to come and go and learn and celebrate and enjoy together. And I think that they have a great turnout every single week. So that just shows how well received the program has been in our community.
Well, thank you just on behalf of the community and speaking, I think for all the Israeli communities and Jewish families who are watching, thank you for your leadership and your willingness and open-mindedness to accept and kind of give a platform to a culture that for many decades as immigrants to the United States have really been in the shadows. And so thank you for providing that platform to the community.
My pleasure. I want our school to feel like a community school, and I think you build community by building awareness and creating that inclusivity for everyone to take part in understanding each of our community members. So
beautiful. Well, thank you so much, and we'll continue on. We do have viewers, so we have some fans for you, Sharon, who are watching and sending in nice messages. And I think you saw the one from Tal earlier. So keep those messages coming in if you're watching. So Sharon, I'll let you go ahead.
Okay. If you want to move to the next slide, I just want to tell a little bit about the program. And really the idea is to encourage other people, other community, other parents, educators that want to do something like that. As I said, I wasn't always so involved. It is doable. Yes, it takes a little bit of your time. Yes, it can be frustrating if you're measuring it by how much you do versus others. But if you really truly tuned into what it does to the community and personally to my children, I'm there, and I'm there every week, and we meet once a week. We have a designated space that the school was kind enough to kind of let us supervise, and we did some activities to beautify that area, which was a little neglected before, and it's like everyone knows what it is right now, and we're really proud of it. It opens to all grade level, TK through 5, and they all meet together once a week. That's very unique. I feel like when all of a sudden it's not just the grade level, there's some older and younger siblings together. My youngest, no, Ellie, my daughter, she had a 5th grade buddy, and she's in 1st grade. And all of a sudden, to meet her 5th grade buddy, her hero, once a week during that meeting, it meant a lot to them, and I think it's very special. And it opens to everyone who wants to join. So sometimes we have kids who just walk by the fence and, hey, what are you guys doing? And there's more and more curiosity around it, and I think that's what made it so magical, that it really is open for everyone, and it's always fun. It's always about doing something fun. So every week when we meet, it's, yes, our core values are very Jewish oriented, but I think in terms of looking at what it really means, it's so positive and so uplifting that I'm not surprised that everyone wants to be part of it. So we talk about friendship, and how can we do more good deed, more mitzvahs, and all these beautiful Jewish principle comes down to really being a better self. And that's what I really love about it. So once a week, we always have at least 3 parents. So 2 parents that are kind of leading it and taking charge, and then another, we always like to the gate to kind of supervise and make sure everything's safe. That's basically it. We have the whole curriculum for you guys. We have a full year of experience, and it was really truly amazing. Yeah.
And then Sharon, just in case people are wondering, and there may be some viewers who may watch this now or even in the future, just to really emphasize that a lot of pushback we've received, even from doing things in the educational space or the school space, is about religion versus culture. And so it's really emphasizing, and it's on the screen, the cultural diversity with Jewish principles, but understanding Jewish identity also as a cultural identity, not just a religious identity.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I think it's really important, because we also have to remember that being part of the public system, we're coming from different backgrounds. So there's a lot of families who practice Judaism at different levels, and there's also a lot of non-Jewish people that all of a sudden discovered or remembered that they have some Jewish roots, and they're so proud of it, because we really there's something to celebrate. And it's not about I don't know, again, about the space. I'm not part of the LAUSD education community, so I don't know what's allowed and what not, but we're really trying to focus on doing good. We're starting, it's at the elementary level. Got to remember that a lot of those principles are not, you have to make it communicated to a child. So and they feel it when it's authentic and it's real. They feel it. So yes, on the holidays, we have a guy who talked about what are all the customs, all the interesting things that we're doing during the holidays, but there was no real if you don't do this, there's no religion in terms of mentioning God or fear of, if you won't do this, you do that. It's really focused, and we can go a little later about over those principles a little bit more in depth, but it's all about understanding and learning the history and the cultural aspects of Judaism. And that's what I personally love. I'm not, very conservative in my household, so I feel like it's also got to be true and cater to everyone. And that's kind of was our focus in terms of the content of each week. We are coming from different backgrounds in terms of the people that are running this show also. Some parents are completely not religious, but all of a sudden, when you're an immigrant and you're moving to a new country, you want a little bit of that. It's kind of, reminds you of home, but then you gotta, I feel like we have to find a common ground here.
Absolutely. Shall we, next slide?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So in each week when we meet, some of the themes are about holidays, and this is, I think, where the kids got most excited when we were doing things that all of a sudden they didn't even know about some of these traditions, but we made it so exciting for them that when we said, when my daughter came to me for the first time and she didn't even know about Lag BaOmer, for instance, and all of a sudden we're making the bow and arrow, and in some of the slides you can see some of the pictures, but it really excites me to see how thrilled they are and how much they're waiting for it each and every week. And I think that the most exciting part for me is to, as I said earlier, from it being something that they were not so proud of, or especially around the holidays, they used to ask me like, hey, why we're not doing this, why we're not celebrating Christmas, maybe trying to even minimize their identity, which I think that's the first time I blew up in my face. I felt like this is the answer. That's exactly it. It's beautiful. If we'll move to the next session, to the next slide, we want to show you a little bit about our achievements, what we did so far, and we actually have a whole curriculum for a whole year, mostly based on the Jewish calendar. And thankfully, we have a lot of holidays and days to remember. So there's something to learn almost every Friday, and all between. And that's the beauty of it, that we were really sitting down and thinking, hey, what's really tuned in into what's going on in school in terms of what's happening right now, what the kids are talking about. And this is something that I feel has the most impact on school, and that we're really connected to the school community. So we had a few weeks of, a little rougher weeks where the people or kids had, it was I think kindness, and people talked about bullyingness, and some people share their experiences. So we decided that the theme around that time is going to be, ahavta l'reacha kamocha, with don't treat your friends the way you want to be treated. I felt like it had a big impact, and they also they were welcome to invite a friend to the club. So that was another beautiful thing in terms of reaching out to the community, and bringing more awareness. And I feel like at the end of the day, that's the ultimate joy for me as a mother. So when it's not just about your kids, all of a sudden it's bigger. There is a huge community here. And the funniest story that I thought maybe I should share the video, but I didn't really talk to all the parents about that. I don't know if I should share it. The day before, no, 2 days before our Purim party, I didn't know that we need permits for a bouncy house and things like that. All of a sudden, oh, okay, it's a little, maybe I need to think it through. Maybe we should take a step back. And the entire community, literally, everyone, they came to my house in the middle of the night. We went shopping and we moved it to my front yard, just because the kids expected it so much, and it turned out to be like over 150 people for a huge party. The entire school can hear it. I'm blasting off music. Such an amazing experience, such an uplifting event, and everyone were talking about it for weeks. So I feel like for things like that, for moments like these, when community really comes together. And I was at a verge of just saying, hey, I can, it's maybe it's a bit too much, I'm working full time, what's going on? And people just walking and into my front yard, and I had maybe 20 or 30 parents just coming to help me. Okay, there's nothing else to do, we're good. That really, it brings a lot of joy to me personally too.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so maybe we can look a little bit about the curriculum. And again, this is something, I'm open to suggestions. If other people wants to implement it a different way, we can just talk about the setup of how we really doing it, each every activity. But the idea is working around the calendar, and you can see a sample here for our first session. And these are kind of the themes that we had, and we had a beautiful activity, and I'm just looking at it, and it reminds me of this year that we had about our roots. We're all coming from different countries. Jewish people, we brought this huge poster of the globe, and every kid had the opportunity to take stickers and place them. Where do you think you're coming from? I mean, we're all here now, and that was so beautiful. And the kids talking about it during Shabbat dinner after, and again, it was just great to really think about it, where people are coming from and the diversity. And I think that was very enlightening for me too, to kind of really see where things are going, what the kids knows about it. And I know we opened a discussion. So they're going back home with a little passport that we printed for them, with what they think, their perception about their identity. And at the end of the day, you know, that's what they're talking about at home now. So how beautiful is that? You know, it's really an opportunity.
Fantastic. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, and we had a Hanukkah activity that and the book lab, which was beautiful. Everyone brought a used book, and they did a book exchange, and the older kids were reading to the youngest, and it was really lovely.
So for the passport activity that you did, that sounds like a really cool activity. What was some of the maybe unexpected? Did you do a passport from each country where they're from, or what was
No,
the?
I printed. I don't know if I can share it. I'll find the documents and I'll share it with you. I printed like a blank passport,
Mhm.
with like the American flag and Star of David, and we put where am I coming from, like where my parents are coming from, um, places I visited. We had a whole like chart of words that they were filling in, some of them in Hebrew, and just
Mhm.
we let them do that. So that was kind of their identity, and then they had to draw a little bit of self-portrait on it, you know, for their picture. It was very cute. And then we talked about the different countries, and they were putting stickers, and then what do you know about this country? Share a little bit of your experience, or what's a lot of people said Morocco or Russia, or what's special about the Moroccan food, or what's a Russian song, you know. So they really got to talk about that, and that was beautiful.
So that's a cool way to explore the kind of the diversity of the community that you have brought together. So can you share with us maybe some of the unexpected places that some of the participants were from in the world?
It was literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Starting here, North and South America, uh,
Hmm.
Argentina, we had a lot of kids. We had Russia, we had Eastern Europe, all over. A lot of people,
Sure.
a lot of kids said Israel, and then we
Hmm.
asked them, "But do you know where, you know, grandma or great grandma are coming from?" And we talked a little bit about how Israel is a young country, and it was really, it
Hmm.
was wonderful to hear, you know, all this background stories. And think about it, some of the kids are TK or kindergarten age. So it's really interesting to start this conversation now, and then think about, hey, how that works, or what are we helping wire right now in terms of their identity. So that was
Sure.
that's fun. Sometimes they have
Very
very
cool. Very cool. That's exciting. That sounds very cool.
yeah.
All right. So here are some more sessions I see.
Yeah, so this is our winter session. So we had honor your parents. We have moving forward. We did like we count our good deeds, and that was so much fun. The kids were so into it that the following week they followed up with us. And you know, it's fairly new, so we're not always, you know, we're trying to follow through, obviously, but it's all volunteering, and sometimes, you know, you have to do it last minute. And then when they follow up or they remind you something like that, again, it sparks this motivational spark, and all of a sudden, look, okay, you gotta be better next time. And the kids, they truly, it's the most rewarding thing.
Very
Uh,
cool.
oh, I see a comment. My husband is Jewish, Israeli from Bolivia. Yeah, that's one of our parents.
So it's nice for my husband. It says it's nice for my husband to have his son represent his country. That's very cool. That is very cool.
Yeah.
And I think that also talks, by the way, it speaks to the diversity of the Jewish community too, not just the LUSD community or the school community, but also the Jewish community as well. So
Yeah.
that's great that you get to showcase that. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then we had a
All right.
Tupi Shabbat activity, which was so much fun. We were planting flowers, and they were, you know, we talked about recycling too, part of Tikkun Olam. So we kind of tied everything together. The kids brought their own used containers, and then we colored them and we decorated. And then they actually got to plant it. You know, we make it messy sometimes. It's a lot of fun to see all these hands-on activities, and then how it really ties up to all these wonderful stories and traditions. And um, yeah, we talked a little bit about agriculture, and we shared all these fruits and nuts. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So let's see what's next.
Yes.
So this looks like maybe the spring session.
Yes, that's the spring
Okay.
session, and that's where I really felt, oh my goodness, we really turned into this huge movement in the community. That's where the Purim Carnival happened, and I wish I had more time to just share some more pictures with you, but it was truly.
Sure.
I'm sure that everyone that was part of it, it's still remembers how we really all felt like one community. Even parents that I heard that they're not talking to each other for months, and all of a sudden they're all here together in my front yard. So I feel very honored. We had our builder workshop, which it's still LAUSD. Budget is always a problem, and we never had chairs, and we had to collect donations every time. So because we used to rent chairs for each activity, so we built benches, and the kids were part of it, and we explained
Very
to them
cool.
why they could be part of it. And again, it was so beautiful, and the turnout was everyone that walks by the fence right now like, oh my god, what is that? It's so pretty, and it's all, of course, blue and white, all the benches. So that was fun. And then
Very
pasta
exciting.
activity was amazing. We again, last minute ideas, can we do it, can't we do it, but it turned out to be so beautiful, and I'm so happy to share some of the pictures with you. If you want to move to the next slide, I can
Sure.
give some pictures. So that's when we celebrated Israel's Independence Day.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
So tell us what we're looking at.
So we had our activity was actually a game that we got from PJ Library, which was a trip to Israel, where we talked about the different cities and what we do over there, and people that live there, and we collected all kind of items, and the kids loved it. We had my mother-in-law made this beautiful cake, which again I can't thank her enough about all the hours and all the effort, and we're also lucky to have her and me. She's really inspiring and lighting the way in raising Jewish kids, and just being good people and do whatever you can to help. And that's one of the parents just called me that day and said, hey, can I make treats? And she made these blue and white marshmallow treats, which again just heartwarming. And we printed shirts with the Israeli flag that the kids actually got to decorate. So that's what you see at the top, and everything was beautifully decorated with the Israeli flag. It was really a lot of fun. That was fun.
That's very exciting. Very cool. So I do want to say we have a nice comment from Ario the Oreo. Blue and White Club is one of the best things to happen to our community. The entire community is coming together. Thank you, Sharon. So you clearly have some fans in the community. That's exciting. So these are great pictures. What a great way to celebrate Yom Ha'atzmaut and to celebrate Independence Day.
Yeah. And if I can say, if one remark on this one, if there are parents out there that, just like me, you're feeling for so long that you really dimming down your identity, and I was looking for ways to do these kind of things, like, hey, maybe I should look for an activity for Yom Ha'atzmaut, or we wouldn't even celebrate at all. And to have this opportunity, I mean, even the Purim party, I didn't feel like I have to take them anywhere else because we had so much fun and it was so beautiful. So if you have that urgency to just be part of it, it's really possible. I wouldn't never in a million years think that I can do it myself, or and I'm honest here, initiated myself. It took more and more parents and more community members asking, hey, how can we do it? And it's always like with the assumption that you can't do it, but there's always the no is always there. So the question is, there's an opportunity here. Worst case scenario, it's still a no. So it happened, and that this momentum is what keeps it going. It's because sometimes it's not one or two or three people. It starts with just literally one action, but then an entire community forms. And I met new people that really literally took this whole weight from my shoulder when I had an emergency, or I couldn't do it that Friday. So and I'm so grateful. So if you're out there and you're just thinking about it and you don't have enough, motivation, or you think it's impossible, or I'm working full time, I have 3 kids, it's possible. So I'm really encouraging you to do something about it.
That's very cool. Very cool. All right. So let's see the next slide. Here's some more pictures. Tell us what we're seeing here.
Yeah, so that was part of our Shavuot activity.
Okay.
And it was so much fun. And I'll be honest, a disclaimer here: my kids didn't know what Shavuot is, what it's all about. It's so sad for me to say, because this is my favorite holiday.
Sure.
But it's true, and this opportunity to celebrate through Blue and White Club, I think, was one of the very, very meaningful moments for me to say, hey, this is some of the result is this people are coming together for something that feels very Israeli. Because I didn't, we didn't talk about the customs or the Jewish, because I don't even know them, but we looked into it and we thought, hey, we think it would be beautiful to just showcase the beautiful traditions that we remember from Israel, celebrating the first crop, celebrating all the beautiful gifts of nature, making these fruit baskets. And through that, we talked to the kids about what is Shavuot, and we all learned. And it's funny because sometimes we, the parents, we're organizing everything, but then it's so, what is it? So if the kids are coming to us, what should we say? And we all learn, even the adults. So that was a lot of fun. That was enlightening for the parents too, because many parents didn't know some of the things that you do at Shavuot. So we always, when we feel like, if we don't know much about it, the kids for sure has a lot of questions, and then it's an open discussion, and then it's so beautiful because the kids are asking questions. What do you know about it? Tell me about the 7 species. Tell me, and it's very, and you see how some of the kids, they have no idea, and the answers are so funny, but you learn something too. And I think that's so beautiful. I love it. That was one of the best activities for me, to all of a sudden have all this knowledge, and my kids to talk about that again at Shabbat and tell everyone what are all the 7 species. And yeah, I didn't even remember all of them before. So
That's beautiful. That's great. I think we have one more slide here.
yeah, so
And tell us about this.
it's just a mix of a few of the activities. So we have so before Rosh Hashanah and the high holidays, where we had the Chabad, the rabbi from Chabad, which it was so amazing to just come and put his time and effort and put something that would speak to everybody. And the kids had so much fun at this activity, learning about Rosh Hashanah and what we do and where it's coming from. And I feel like that kind of thing, bringing other, or having allies, having other communities or organizations or nonprofits that you can work with, that was one of the best things that happened to our school community. We partnered that, in that case we partnered with Chabad. After that, we had another activity where for kindness for animals, we contacted one of the shelters here, the animal shelter, and they brought in all these animals. And that was another activity that the kids kept on talking about it. We had lizards and snakes and all these beautiful things. And then the following week we said, hey, if you feel like helping out, maybe you can donate something for them. And the following week, I would never forget it, driving on Friday, right before Shabbat, with my trunk full of stuff that the kids donated. And again, that's just by communicating to the kids. You have to remember that it's not as organized as I would want it to be. So even the communication would be difficult. Sometimes it would literally rely on a child relaying the message to the parent, and still, we had such turnaround. So that was beautiful too. And the lady that I contacted, she literally teared up and said, I never had anything like that, and call me anytime you want me to come again. So that was fun.
That's
Yeah,
exciting. That's exciting.
here we see the kids making cards for Rosh Hashanah. And then we had an activity about good deeds and mitzvah with some Hebrew words at the bottom right. The top, where we exchanged books and we did all about the Hebrew book club. And then what do we have there? I think another activity where we made, that's where we made the passports. I don't know if you can see. but they all had like a little booklet, and they were coloring their own portrait, and yeah,
That's
writing
very cool.
from.
So, I guess my last two questions, and I'll open it to Amy and Esther if they have questions. But the vision. I mean, do you want to share what your vision is for the program, and what your ultimate dream would be?
Yeah, the ultimate dream would be to make it available nationwide, not just in LAUSD. It's really the answer. You start young, you bring people together, all good things. I don't see any reason why people would oppose to something like that, that really puts in the heart of it serving the community that it's part of. So yeah, that would be a legacy for all these years that I was not involved and didn't really do much to, help with my Jewish roots and educating my kids. And now I'm doing it. Yeah, almost full time.
Awesome. Well, you have a huge fan in Tal, so obviously you're doing something right. And I just want to say that we're huge fans of yours and this program, new fans, and we'll do anything and everything we can to support you and to spread the good word about this program. I just want to open it up to Amy and Esther if you wanted to share some perspective or ask any questions. Maybe Esther, do you want to go for Amy? Amy?
Yeah, I mean,
I just,
hi, my name is Esther. I'm a parent of 3 kids. I'm also a substitute teacher with Las Virgenes, and I work for PJ Library, which is one of the ways that I met Sharon, because she does use the resources of PJ Library, and then I found out about her program through another parent that was looking for an elementary school in the West Valley, and just hearing the glowing reviews about Woodlake Elementary, how it's an incredible community and it's a warm community of incredibly proud Jewish kids that attend. It was just very heartening, because ultimately I want all kids to be proud of who they are, regardless if they're Jewish or not. But unfortunately, Jewish people have experienced anti-Semitism even at early ages. I was just recalling the first time I experienced anti-Semitism, and it was at a middle school here in Woodland Hills, and I was 11 years old, and I really didn't know how to approach it. I was like, somebody said that Jews have horns and a tail, and I didn't know anything. I didn't even know how to defend myself. I didn't know what she was talking about, but it was incredibly awkward. And I just love the fact that we are celebrating our religion and celebrating our ethnicity, which is ultimately will hopefully get rid of ignorance and anti-Semitic sentiment overall. I'm really impressed by your program, and I love learning more and seeing all these smiling children, because it's just awesome that they get to celebrate their identity instead of hide from it. So
absolutely. Thank you, Esther.
So I'm gonna hop on with a question, only because I didn't hear the name of the rescue farm. Was it Kfar Saba?
No, but I heard about it, by the way. So now somehow people feel like I'm representing the overall Israeli community, and I got a few texts about it and a petition.
Yeah.
No, it was actually a local one that I met here at the farmers market in Woodland Hills. But I learned about what happened at Kfar Saba, and
I've taken students there. She was quite lovely. But there are many lovely animal farms and rescues that are available. I want to say that I love about this that it is everything that we hope that diversity and multicultural respect are going to bring to our kids, which is ultimately self-respect and seeing themselves in other people. And I love what you have created And you have literally created a blueprint for this to go on in the future and beyond. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. And really, I have to emphasize, it's not just me, and it's not me that created it. It's really a community effort. It's everyone involved. I happen to represent it and do what I can to take care of, make sure that the logistics goes. But it's definitely not just me. It's a community initiation.
So if we were talking about overcoming resistance in parents, because every parent is an overwhelmed parent, but you've created something really amazing that's a positive experience from what I'm hearing, not just for the kids, but for the whole school community, including the parents. What would you say are some objections that can easily be flicked away?
So I think it's a really good question. Some of the stuff that it's some of the paradigms that I had as a parent before we even started it is thinking about, hey, is it even allowed? Are we bringing religion into the school? And I heard that from some of the parents, for sure, the non-Jewish or parents. um, what does it has to do, what's going on with the school. And I think that the best answer is just come by and see, just join us, see what's going on. And that's exactly what happened. We had a lot of all of a sudden people are coming to me and saying, hey, I was never a practicing Jew, but I figured that I'm a quarter or 1/8 Jew, or I know someone, or I've been to a bar mitzvah. And all of a sudden the thing they want to talk to us about, and it's from being, hey, we should never talk religion at school, to, we can talk about anything. And as long as we respect each other, as long as we're open-minded, why not? And another thing was, and this is something that, as I said in the beginning, I heard a lot, and I felt like I have to do it as being part of the Israeli community, is to kind of make sure that reputation, gets cleaned up a little bit, because I felt like we really people had a lot of stigmatism about what's going on with the Israelis. You're so loud, violent, disrespectful. You only, I heard you only take. You never give anything to the school. And I understand that some, especially immigrants, are not always comfortable of joining, things at the school level or the PTSA. Or I understand that, and I can also relate to where it's coming from. When I was an immigrant, when it was my first year here, I barely spoke the language. I didn't feel comfortable around others, and some people can be also very difficult and mimic the accent, or what did you say, and doing things like making you feel very uncomfortable in your, and ashamed in your identity. And yeah, it's definitely something that, again, I feel very blessed to be part of this community, and I feel like we really transformed a lot of it, but it was there, definitely there.
It's interesting. I do want to mention that religious observance and the teaching of the value of a specific religious observance is prohibited during instructional time. Though, if it's during a club, there are many schools that will have a religion club for a group of students. They're not allowed to exclude anybody, but there can be clubs for any number of religious or cultural purposes. And if it's not happening during instructional time, if it's happening after school, it's a club, or on the weekends, that is certainly permitted. And as long as you secure the go-ahead from your principal. And I also want to say that most immigrant communities anywhere in the world are going to have a sense of not knowing how it is that things are done, not knowing how they fit in, not knowing the right way to say things or do things, or stand close to people or far away from people, or the loudness of the voice to use, or the idiomatic expressions, there's no way to know that. That's learned over a lifetime. So it's to be expected that any immigrant community might have those feelings.
And I just wanted to jump in and say that it really, again, it goes to acknowledging the leadership of your school's leadership, acknowledging their willingness and grace in creating that space for you, and acknowledging that, hey, you're a community member and a stakeholder that matters, because not a lot of leaders will do that. Many will not give that grace and that patience to a new member of the community. So I think that goes to a lot to your principal who gave you that space at your school. So we want to acknowledge that again.
Absolutely. And to many raised brows, by the way. As I said, in the beginning, there was a lot of question marks, a lot of people like asking about it and, raising questions. And is it okay or not? Or everyone can join or not? And, it was very clear from the beginning that it's going to be open to anybody, but definitely some brows are raised.
So maybe, unless Amy or Esther, you had anything else, I wanted to bring in the one last question, and maybe we can end it on this. And Esther, I'm sorry, I'm covering your face. Let me move you. We'll cover my face. How do you propose we get this into our schools? Sharon, I don't expect you to have an easy or ready answer, but obviously you said the vision is we want it in all schools nationwide.
Yes.
But do you want to touch on this? Answering this question?
Yeah, so really, we have some things that we're planning to do in the future that, we do need some more time and resources to put it all together. But the idea is that the plan is already there. The activities, we already have a full year of experience and many, many other, years of experience in the educational field from the team that I'm working with, and obviously from our leaders here in this club, and my mother-in-law with her years of experience. And we already have it all packaged and ready to go. What we really need, and we discussed it briefly a few times, Dylan and I, and when we talked to Amy, the idea is to have some initiation from the community or the school that is interested in, because we need at least two. I think it's important to have at least two parents in each school to kind of lead it, in terms of getting the space ready and logistically what needs to be done and prepared at the school level. Obviously, in terms of materials, the model that we worked with was asking for a donation, a $10 donation to just cover for materials and our Kabbalat Shabbat, the spiritual gathering that we did every Friday, and the kids were, even before Passover, they never gave up the challah. And there's always a sweet treat that one of the parents are donating, but again, it grows, and people are coming together, and they all of a sudden they want to be part of it. But if there's a way, in my vision, to kind of regulate it and have it all pre-packed, ready to go, maybe even in a box, with all the materials and the activity ready to go. So I think that if you are a parent who has the urgency and you want to do it next year right away, I would love to talk to you and give you the entire curriculum, that presentation with highlights on the content that we actually preparing. And in terms of long term, maybe make it, something that is already cookie cutter template ready to go. Just come and.
Perfect. I think what we'll do then is, unless there's any other questions, Amy or Esther, do you have any closing thoughts?
Do the schools give any kind of resources or provide any funds or?
No, the school gave us the space, and we were lucky enough to have a designated space just for us, although it's outdoors and we had to cancel 2 activities out of the year, and still it was, I think, the worst winter in a long time, and we only canceled it twice. It lands on a Friday when it was raining. Other than that, we had a really nice outdoor space that we took care of. It was pretty neglected, and I think it's a lot. I think it's important too, because when it's consistent, it's like your space, or everyone knows that this is the area that is designated for blue and white. All of a sudden, it gets a little bit of a different treatment. and the kids treat that area, and even in terms of the school environment. So I feel like that's a huge resources that we should, I'm really grateful for, because I feel like that was the first thing that we really need. And she was kind enough, our principal was kind enough to say, okay, it's yours, it's free space, do whatever you want with it. Yes, it needs some cleanup, and we, all the parents and the gardeners with the neighbors, we cleaned it up real quick. And I think that's really, really important, because I know there's always, and correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, there's always an issue with classrooms, right? Somehow, every time, I mean, not every time, in the 2 occasions where we had to cancel, I really tried to like reserve a class or the auditorium, and it was always, it's all so busy, and there's some after school activities that are already booking it in advance, and I know some of them are paying a little fee for the school or the community. So definitely, to be able to get the space without paying anything, we really much appreciate it. And the rest of the material were funded either by the donations or by us, the parents that are leading it. And that's the part that I don't like, asking people, hey, can you help out? No one's really making money here. It's for your kids. But at the end of the day, as I said, all this frustration that some of the parents had in the beginning, hey, it can't be just us, turned into, hey, look what's happening here. And there's no one's complaining anymore. No one's allowed to complain anyway. Yeah.
All right. Well, any other closing thoughts before we're good? All right. So I see a comment here that someone says they'll be calling your mother-in-law to get a hold of you. So it looks like we already have blue and white in one new school. So that'll be exciting. Of course, hopefully the vision is to have it in all schools across the country. We need it. We need it. So like I said, we'll commit to doing anything and everything we can to support you. I personally think it's a huge opportunity to combat anti-Semitism by de-otherizing ourselves and de-otherizing the community in general. So as we say in Hebrew, kol hakavod, Sharon, fantastic work. I know you have a lot of fans in the community, and like I said, let's take this to every school we can. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And to all of our viewers, thank you for watching. We're going to try to do this on a regular basis throughout the summer. So we have already the next 2 or 3 lined up. So I want to say thank you all for watching. If you missed it live, the recording is available immediately always, and so you'll always be able to catch up. But thank you to those who were viewing and commenting, and we will see you, if not next week, the week after. So have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.